Gentlemen, that what you are looking at is the gas. Like this is how much gas costs in California, and oil prices, everything is going up due to these strikes. So gas prices have been going up around the country, but not like this. It's $8 now. Gas prices in Texas have gone up from probably like 201 to like 273. The most I saw was like 320, maybe 350. So we expect that to come down. But in California, there's something bigger happening that the gas prices never came down the way they came down for the rest of the country before the strikes on Iran. Now we expect those to come down, but when they do come down in California, they'll be just back to $4 to $5 per gallon. So California is already screwed. Everybody's screaming free Iran. We need to be screaming free California from Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. Now, we know Gavin Newsom is walking away from this, but there is an economic collapse already happening under Gavin Newsom, and that's what he's leaving behind. There's something happening in California that's much worse. Let me know if you're from there, that the Republicans are leading and are about to win due to low reports of polls on the people running as Democrats. Now, I've mentioned names of Chad Bianco running in California and Steve Helton that seem to be leading not only their own their own party and their top two, but they're beating the Democrats in polling. And this is because of what Gavin Newsom has done. Now, we know Gavin Newsom seems to be prepping to run for president. And we know that in 2028, I hope Marco Rubio goes, because Marco Rubio versus Gavin Newsom is going to be the easiest sell. Now, Chevron warns of economic collapse in California under Gavin Newsom and doomsday letter. They wrote a letter. And this is Chevron. This is a representative of Chevron coming out and basically saying Chevron is warning an upcoming vote by California regulators could be the final straw that collapses the oil industry in the state. And I want to play what he had to say in this clip. And then we're going to also go into why I think is very important, because what's very important is that NBC in California has come out with this article, not only an article, but now coming out right on live TV, speaking of the governor's race and the fact that Democrats are facing a nightmare scenario, a Republican governor in California going red. So let's talk about Chevron and and what's happening with gas and oil there, right? Because people are trying to blame the war as if they don't know why everywhere else gas is going up. It has not gone up to $8 to $9 per gallon. Take a listen.
I know Chevron and our competitors, we're having trouble running our business in the state of California. If they add this burden of a tax on our refineries, I think it's just a matter of time. It's not whether or not they'll close, it's just when.
And in terms of Chevron specifically, I mean, are you all basically threatening to leave the state at this point?
Look, Ashley, we haven't made that decision, but it is becoming, that's why I'm talking to you. It's imperative that they do something. They have to get in front of this. Closing a refinery is not a reversible decision. Okay. So if we close and we move out, we don't come back. I'm extremely worried. I do think we should declare an emergency in the state of California. I think lawmakers need to take this seriously. I know Chevron and our competitors, we're having trouble.
So there you have it, right? Chevron and the competitors are having trouble with the regulations that have been happening in California. Now, it's not just oil or gas prices. It's a lot of people leaving, coming to Texas. And the saddest part about people coming to Texas from California or New York City is that they want to turn Texas blue. They want to turn Texas into this. I did not move from California. I moved from New York City into Texas because I wanted to vote red. I was tired of blue policies. Oh, you're a Latino. You're not supposed to shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You didn't live where I lived at, where all these Democrats, everybody representing these districts don't give a damn about the people, bro, because they're always going to vote blue because they think that the red is the worst. And so this is what we're getting. And so now let's go to the real conversation, the real topic of conversation. This has everyone shaking in their boots, especially Democrats. Now, what's funny about this is that a lot of people that are against Trump today, that they're like, yo, we got to vote blue because everything has gone. Guys, this is a reminder of what happens when you vote blue for a very long time. What's happening here in California going red, while people are praying that the country goes blue, is so hilariously ironic. Take a listen to this.
Win, get out. That's the very direct message from the chair of California's Democratic Party to the half a dozen high-profile Democrats that are running for governor. The June primaries are fast approaching, and the field remains very crowded. Here's a look at the latest polling from February. You can see the top two Republican candidates are polling around the same numbers as the top three Democrats. And the Democratic Party's worried all those other candidates polling at a combined 30 points could clear the way for a Republican victory for the first time since 2006. Robert Honda joins us live after talking to the party's chair. Robert, what's he saying tonight?
Well, what he said probably shook up quite a few campaigns, but the party chief says it's simple math. Too many Democrats could splinter the primary vote and help Republicans gain a top spot in the general election.
Let's meet those candidates.
9 prominent Democrats have been campaigning for governor here in the Bay Area and all around the state, but everyone is just campaigning right now. This Friday, that changes. March 6th is the filing deadline to become an official candidate. California uses a jungle primary format, meaning the 2 top vote getters in June go on to the November election, regardless of their party. So with 2 Republicans polling fairly well, state Democrats worry so many Democrats will fracture the vote. That's why State Democratic Party Chair Rusty Hicks put out an open letter essentially saying, if you can't win now, drop out.
I'm asking each candidate for governor to honestly and candidly assess their viability to make it to the general election. And if they don't see a viable path, to simply not file. And if they do file, to be prepared to suspend their campaign and endorse another candidate if in fact they do not become viable by mid-April.
San Jose State University political science professor and dean of undergraduate education, Melinda Jackson, says with the 2 Republicans polling pretty well, the request makes sense.
That primary elections don't have a huge voter turnout. So, typically we're talking less than 30% of voters turn out for a primary. So again, if you have Republican voters who are really motivated because they think they might get, 1 or 2 of their guys on the ballot, that could really create some risk for the Democrats this time.
Hicks says he understands with such prominent candidates, it will be hard for any of them to picture themselves not gaining ground.
Reality is that the stakes are incredibly high at this historic moment.
Yeah, the stakes are incredibly high. I will have to agree with this gentleman because Californians are wanting to vote red. They want to vote differently. Again, every state is very different. But when it comes to California and the fact that gas prices on a probably short-lived war, they're able to raise the gas prices to something that we like $8 in 2026. They were $4 in 2026, while everybody else was about $2, $2.25, $2.05, right? $3 flat, the most in a lot of these states, right? Robberies, murders, right? Gerrymandering that happened as well. That basically gives Democrats these districts, and so there's a lot already going on that people don't on the left don't even want to come to conclusion with, like the fact that Democrats are about to run that state, knowing that there has been a mass exodus for a very long time. So the panic is in. They're telling people that they need to drop out. Eric Swalwell is not even polling well, right? This is supposed to be like a big Democrat that's supposed to be like very popular. He's not doing well at all. And so I want to go here real quick because now I want to talk about Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, right? 2 people from California. This is a friend of mine who was a leftist, wrote this, by the way, right? I'm not going to say his name, but he knows. He's probably watching this video. I follow him on X. He's been freaking out lately about the Democrats that have been, polling. And so the polling is already bad in California. But it's not only bad in California, it's bad for the presidential nomination for the Democrats, right? So he says, this really does make me want to KMS. Just imagine what that means. I can't do coconut fever brat summer again, man. Shorty cool, but running again. Right, basically, he's got this crazy language going on here, but he's basically saying it's a losing strategy to have this woman run. She cool, but I don't want to see her running again, especially after she failed so bad. But when you look at the polling, right? Harris at 33, Gavin Newsom at 28, Shapiro and AOC at 13%. This was released on February 15th. So again, this is what the polling looks like for the Democrats. Now let's go back to California. I think this is where it gets tricky, right? Steve Hilton, who is a Republican running he's running an anti Gavin Newsom campaign. And again, you heard Chevron, you heard that there's some type of economic collapse, which I already think it's been an economic collapse in California when it comes to affordability, right? People not being able to afford things and just how bad it's been, people fleeing and all the crime and everything that's happened, especially when it comes to like being a sanctuary state as a whole, right? So Steve Hilton leads California governor's race with 20%. Republicans are uniting behind Steve. I see some, behind Chad Bianco. So I think that'll be a good primary to have, Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. So Steve, because they know the truth, California isn't working and it's time for real change. Steve Hilton right now at 20% California governor race, right? Tom Stewart and Chad Bianco, Katie Porter. So he is winning at 20%. It looks like he could be the guy that gets nominated. Steve Hilton has my support and the entire family as well. Time to make California golden again. So it's crazy when you look around at Trump's approval ratings, the way, what Democrats are trying to say about the country and all these things, right? But when you look around, you see people wanting to go red in a blue area. So it's weird. I know it is very weird, but okay. Gas prices in California could reach about $8 a gallon, which you saw the picture. So that's what's going on. So apparently the senator of the state, Suzette Valderez, is calling on Governor Newsom to end California's cap and invest program that charges all you makers for carbon emissions. She says it's not scaremongering at all. Because of cap and invest, we're looking at $1 more per gallon or for gas. First of all, why is your gas over $7.81 to $8 per gallon?
Is that Dasco?
I mean, that's just crazy, right? You got people recording this. This is going viral. You got Chevron coming out, like making articles, talking to the New York Post about Gavin Newsom. So we know Gavin Newsom is almost out of here, but we also know he wants to run for president. So California will face an economic collapse under Governor Gavin Newsom's guided climate policy. It's all about climate change policies that's making this happen. So again, very sad times for the Democrats. Especially when it comes to Gavin Newsom and basically running California to the ground and then wanting to run for president. Isn't that crazy? But again, Chad Bianco, Steve Hilton are polling very well. It looks like California is facing some type of crises when it comes to how many people are running as Democrats. And in my opinion, California flipping to Republican is going to be an aha moment. First time since 2006, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see what happens. But man, I am praying for you. Free California. Free California, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think about all of this and more. If you live in California, comment down below. Are you paying? What are you paying out there right now? How is your life going in California? See you guys in the next one.